Alright, today marks the July 2nd edition of the Eduardo Asylum. Hopefully somebody at home could kind of keep me track on where I'm watching this from, what episode I'm on, because frankly I've done a bad job of keeping track of it myself. That's why I've just done dates this far, but pretty soon I might start actually doing them by number yet again, so there's that. Anyway, I wanted to get into the Eduardo Asylum, kick it off talking about Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and just a couple of other things. So big news that made this week, and it's kind of calmed down since then. Jim Cornette and Vince Russo. This is quite the story. So Cornette recently got a restraining order from Vince Russo, and honestly, this just when you think this feud is going to die down, it just keeps going. It's the feud that keeps on going. It'll never end. This has more heart than really any long-term feud going on in WWE right now, for crying out loud. This has been going on since 1999, as Vince Russo so eloquently puts it. Honestly, I'm just gonna kind of agree with what everybody else says, and that they should really bury the hatchet by now. This is really childish between these guys. The fact that there has to be a restraining order, and I think it was really funny that he got a restraining order, and as Meltzer put it, this is just a way to seek attention. So, that's quite a way of putting it. So now I'm talking about it because, frankly, I have to. Who would I be? What kind of journalist would I be to not report this? Of course, I'm a little bit of nothing short of 1 or 2 weeks late on this, but here's another piece of news. And on Cornette's part, he basically responded by saying that he's going to sell copies of that restraining order and actually autograph them for people. So, I think that's a pretty funny way of putting it, just so he could have to, quote, remind himself that Cornette, that he is scared of Cornette, and Cornette has legally told people that. So it's just funny, these turns that just develops in this ongoing feud. But again, I think it needs to end at some point, and who knows, maybe this will be the beginning of the end, maybe, right? So yeah, just my little quick 2 cents on that. So let's get into Monday Night Raw. So, we start the show out. If I'm not mistaken, all I remember was that we started the show with Roman Reigns coming out, hitting a promo, and I don't really remember what he said. I was kind of late on this, actually. So, from what I remember, he was just cutting his typical thing. He was saying, I'm the big dog, and this, and that. And then, of course, we see the ambulance with Braun Strowman, who was not inside it. So Roman Reigns comes out thinking he was going to be in. Braun Strowman attacks from behind, outsmarts Roman Reigns. I really like this. We got a giant with not only brawn, but with a lot of brain too. So that's good credit for having Strowman there. He pretty much takes it to Roman, beats him down. I don't really remember much else. He pretty much did all that, and that was kind of it. Next, we had Brock Lesnar. He comes out. He's ready to kick some ass. Paul Heyman, he comes out cutting this promo. And, he wasn't really saying much that wasn't, out of the ordinary of a Paul Heyman promo. But he was saying quite a bit. He called Joe a Samoan dumbass. Line of the night, by the way. And Brock Lesnar, he makes his entrance. You think he's going to the ring, but doesn't quite make it. As Samoa Joe puts him in a coquina clutch from behind, and he has this good on him for quite a while. And I thought this was good on Brock to just put over Lesnar, put over Joe as much as possible. And like I can't believe, wow, Brock Lesnar actually was willing to put somebody over. Because let's face it, if Brock Lesnar didn't want to put over Joe, he didn't have to. And let's be honest with each other, Brock Lesnar could kick Samoa Joe's ass in a minute, in a real fight. So, yeah, I thought good on Brock. You know, he tried to get out of the coquina clutch but couldn't, and he rammed him into the LED board in the front, the Minitron, not the one at ringside. And then, but he couldn't get out of it with Joe, and Brock was turning, ruby red. You know, he was pink. He was having a hard time breathing. Everybody was pulling them apart. Joe was saying, "Remember who did this to you. Remember who did this to you." And I thought that was beautiful. Well done. So I can't wait to see their next segment tomorrow night. I think if Brock Lesnar doesn't get his comeuppance, I won't be complaining, honestly, if Brock Lesnar doesn't get his comeuppance, because he's just been destroying everybody in sight, and this is kind of refreshing. But at the same time, I do kind of want to see a little more of an even fight, an even build up. But whatever, nitpick. Let me see. Oh, well, how can I forget this monstrosity here? So, we got Lamar Ball, everybody. Lamar Ball with his son, Lonzo Ball. I'm sorry, it's LeVar Ball. Ha, my bad. Well, anyway, it was him, LaMelo, Lonzo. I don't know their names. And honestly, I really don't care. But it was really funny to me, this segment. Not because anything was good actually made, just because of how bad it was. One of those so good it's bad segments. Just a couple weeks ago, we had the Alexa Bliss "This Is Your Life," which was also really bad. But this was just, I don't know. So Lonzo, he's confronting Miz. He's talking crap, and Miz is like, "You know what? You don't know what it's like to be a champion." And he's like, "How many championships do you have?" And he talks about this to everybody. So he asks LeVar, my bad, how many championships do you have? He's like 5 or 2 or something like that. And then he asks the two sons, and they both gave a big number. Like, one was like 5 and the other was like 12 or something like that. I don't really remember. Anyway, they came out to a big ovation, which I was a little surprised at that. That was good. Afterwards, they just kept going at it until Lonzo took his shirt off, or not Lonzo, LeVar took his shirt off and started flexing, and then, I don't know, for some reason Dean Ambrose came out. This is where the segment just drove off a cliff, and this was the go home to this segment. So Dean Ambrose comes out. He doesn't say much. I think he made just one statement about the Ball family. He was wearing the shirt, by the way. That was, wow, what a loose cannon lunatic, huh? Anyway, he's wearing the shirt. He said something that endorsed the Ball family, and then that was it. That was really it. There was really nothing that happened after that. That was just it just cut away. It was, after that, I was just kind of disgusted, because it was like, what the hell was that? Like, man. So, what are you gonna do there? Alright, well, whatever. So, next we had Enzo Amore and Big cast. And this is what I really wanted to talk about. I love this. I love this segment. Start to finish, love this segment because Enzo Amore, he comes out, he has, he's crying damn near, he's going crazy, he's asking Cass to come out. And of course, Cass comes out, and, it's just, he comes out to Enzo's theme song, which I found kind of funny, but hey. He comes out, he's just listening to Enzo Amore speak. He's talking about how he called his dad, he called his...
Hi, I'm Allison Felix.
He was talking about how he called all these people, and he couldn't get one response from him. He talked about everything, but he couldn't get one response. He even called his mom, but
I'm here at the Golden Gate
couldn't
Bridge,
get a response from him.
Sydney McLaughlin with the...
He even called his mom, but couldn't get a response from him. And honestly, this was just the promo of the year, honestly, because the way Enzo was saying, he was just going off saying, man, I will not let you end this friendship. I will not let you end this. This was as genuine as it got, bro. Now I'm Vince Russo. No, this was as genuine as it got. Like, honestly, I loved it. Every single part of this segment. Because, like, Enzo, he was just going off. And listen, if you missed Raw, go back and watch it just for the sake of this promo. Because it was amazing. You don't even have to watch all of Raw. Just go type up Enzo, Cass, June 26th. And it should pop up. It should, but don't take my word for it. Anyway, it was amazing because he just kept going on and going on and going on, and he was pouring his heart out, talking about how he was the one guy Enzo could count on. They were brothers. All this outpouring, and honestly, my explanation doesn't do it justice. This was just amazing. Amazing on Enzo's part. And then Cass, he responded. He was very straight faced, but then he said, "You just don't know when to shut up, do you?" And then when I heard that line, I was like, holy shit. Because, like, I can't believe, like, in story, all that heart pouring stuff of Cass, all that heart pouring, didn't affect him. He just, Stone Cold Killer just said, "You just don't know when to shut the hell up, dude." Like, that was amazing. That was a great heelish line from Cass. But anyway, for some reason, so Cass went from this great line to, like, saying, "You know what? I'm sorry for how I've been acting. I'm sorry about this and that." And I was like, wow, alright. You know what? And at first I couldn't tell. But, like, I noticed that they milked the segment a lot. So, of course, him turning on Cass and something was going to happen. Of course. And I should have suspected it. But, you know what? I didn't. Whatever. Because, honestly, after Enzo's promo, I actually wanted them to be back together. I was just like, oh my god. Because, you know what? Honestly, I don't even think these two should be broken up. Now, I can get why they did it, because, hell, Jordan explained it to me a while back, which was, if you want to listen to Jordan's thoughts on that, go listen to our latest live stream. It's on Pixel Health Gaming, which is his gaming channel. It's on my channel. It's on the Podcast Legend Killers channel. You can't miss it. So, be sure to look it up when you can. So, Anyway, Cass, he did the SAWFT soft, and then, they kept going at it. They left the ring, head off to the stage. Right by that point, Cass gave him a clothesline. He gorilla pressed him and then vaulted him pretty much down the ramp. Cass sold that like $1 million. Amazing stuff. Overall, A+ segment. Hell, I'll go out on a limb to say it was segment of the night. So, the Hardy Boys had a six-man tag match with Finn Balor and the Club with Elias Sampson, so that was something else. That was also that was really a nothing match there. I believe that was actually opening segments. I really don't remember. So yeah, it wasn't nothing much. So it looks like we're getting Balor and Sampson and the Club versus the Hardys. So that's quite the thing. One thing people kept raving about was Jeff Hardy, and well, for that matter, both the Hardy Boys with their backstage segment, because they were both not only doing the broken gimmick, which was something. We're getting rumors that they're gonna be broken pretty soon, so lawsuit must be up, which is a good thing. And then Jeff Hardy mentioned CM Punk on the backstage segments. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be like, well, I can't believe it, CM Punk's returning. You know, I don't believe it, but hey, I will admit it is a little weird that WWE wouldn't edit out CM Punk's name being mentioned on the YouTube video, but hey, maybe it's just a YouTube video today. So anyway, there wasn't too much action on this show, so that's kind of my only critique about it, but there was a lot of good story here. Of course, we got the segment with Joe and Lesnar, we got Cass and Enzo, and then we eventually got the six-man tag. So this was the six-man tag. I'm sorry, 6-woman gauntlet. Sorry, I'm back in the other segment here, but the 6-woman gauntlet was quite the show. Nia Jax pretty much pummeled through Bayley, pummeled through Emma, pummeled through the other roster here. She looked like a monster here. And then Sasha Banks came out. They had a competitive match. And then Sasha made a Nia Jax tap, which I have no problem with. But I think with the story, the way it was telling, I honestly thought we were going to get Bliss versus Nia at Great Balls of Fire. I only thought that would have made sense. But hey, such is life. I can understand why they didn't do it, though. Because with Bliss and Nia, listen, this is the only reason I can guarantee we're not getting Bliss and Nia at Great Balls of Fire. One, we're getting Brock and Joe. Okay? We're getting Strowman and Reigns. Are we seeing a pattern here? If we added in Nia and Bliss, do we see the pattern now? It would have been a big dude, and big girl, and I don't think WWE wants that to be kind of the pattern here. Want to change things up, which I get, but look, if you're telling a story here, you might as well complete. Don't swerve it. You know, I honestly liked it. I honestly was intrigued by it, but okay, I don't care. I honestly think Bliss versus Banks should have been saved for SummerSlam, because those two are great on the mic, and I think they could have had a great 4 or 5 weeks build. But hey, I'm excited to see how their go home is going to be. I'm expecting that this won't be the blow off match, because their feud barely started last week, and we'll continue on this week. So we might see them go at a rematch for SummerSlam, depending on who wins and all that. Excuse me. So yeah, that was pretty much Raw in a nutshell. It was something else. It was a much more enjoyable show than most Raw, so that's for sure. Let's get into SmackDown here. So we start out with Daniel Bryan praising the women's revolution.
Prize Sydney McLaughlin with the Gatorade National Girls Track.
Sorry, I didn't take notes for this show. That's why. Anyway, so we got Daniel Bryan coming out praising the evolution of the women's wrestling, and he just kept going on, and it was great stuff until Carmella came out. She described her case, and here's what I liked about this situation. Carmella came out. She put on her case, and in a way, they were both right. You know, you can make a case that nobody has ever interfered, taken the briefcase, and then you know, somebody outside of the match take the briefcase. Of course, there's been outside interference, but nobody's ever outright just gotten it from the outside, which made sense. But then Carmella says the first woman to gain possession of it. So, you know, you have your cases here. Either one is right. They're both right in a way. So they were going on their stance. They were going on about this, and then Daniel Bryan, he started talking about James Ellsworth. James Ellsworth started going on about Daniel Bryan, calling him a shell of a man, and they had a little stare down, so Daniel Bryan started laughing. And then he said, you know what? You're not going to be banned from this match. And he played the old trickaroo, and he just said, you're going to be banned from the entire ringside, the entire arena. So we were to no longer see James Ellsworth, supposedly. But anyway, Mr. Money in the Bank left because Ellsworth is the first ever Miss Money in the Bank. But anyway, Carmella walks down. He's just head held high, and here's a little. While I'm at it, let's give a little props to Carmella here, because during the match, during her entrance, one thing I noticed about Carmella is that she's got a great sense of psychology. You know, she comes out, she doesn't do her typical show-off nonsense. She comes out, she has a chip on her shoulder, she's pissed off, she's hitting a ladder, good stuff. You know, during the match, she's doing the chicken shit heel stuff, or you know, she's getting crossed in by somebody, funny stuff. You know, so good sense of psychology from Carmella. So the next thing we got was the Hype Bros versus the Usos, and mind you, I had to watch the 90-minute Hulu version of this. So from the first part we saw Mojo Rawley starting us off with Jey Uso or Jimmy Uso, whichever one, until Zach was tagged in, and then afterwards Zach, you know, he hit his good stuff. Good to see Zack Ryder come back out. You know, and I only got to see about 2 minutes of this until Hulu faded to black, and then the next thing we know, the Usos won by a splash. So I didn't get to see the whole match. So if anybody thinks it's worth watching, let me know. I'll probably check it out. From what I'm seeing on the thing, we saw a little bit of we got quite a bit of frustration from the champions and Nenziguri apparently, and yeah, but whatever. Anyway, the New Day comes out, and these two are just going at each other. I'm loving this program between the two, because these two can jab back and forth. I don't care who the hell wins this anymore, because I just love the two of them just going back at it with the verbal sparring. They're going at each other. And anyway, New Day comes out. They're ridiculing them for actually winning a match rather than running away from it. And then the Usos cut this amazing promo yet again. And then afterwards, they're like, you know what? That was hot. And they were feeling their promo, so to speak. And they were about to leave until Kofi started talking about spitting bars. And then Kofi started rapping a little bit. And then that was kind of it. The Usos still just left. I thought that was funny. So this resulted in us getting a rap battle next week. So should be fun. So next we got Lana versus Naomi. And this was a short match. Side note, Naomi's belt finally got resized, so it doesn't look oversized, doesn't look crazy stiff either. It's just it's actually proportional to her waist, thank God. So that's a plus right there. And anyway, during the announcements of their names, Lana attacked Naomi. But then the onslaught wouldn't last long until Naomi pretty much gave her a roundhouse kick, dragged her over to the corner, and then hit the split-legged moonsault, and Naomi won still. Somehow this resulted in a rematch. So we're gonna get this we're gonna get a rematch next week. I don't really understand why, but well, what are you gonna do? Randy Orton, we saw him come out. He cut this very discount Austin promo. And here's the thing, I've always wanted to see Randy Orton come out, more of an angry side to him, you know, going like the promo he cut on Rollins back in 15 when he was betrayed, and Rollins told him, or no, Randy was like, you know, that's quite a hell of a finish you got there, kid. I was still seeing stars and all this stuff, and I wish WWE had the full promo because that was an amazing promo. Of course, we see Orton come out, and very Austin-like, he comes out, he's sitting in a chair, and he's saying, I'm not going to come out till I get what's rightfully mine. And this is a good way to tell the story, but the thing is, the promo was stale. I wasn't moved by this promo at all. Randy Orton, he was just saying that he was going to beat Jinder Mahal within an inch of his life, to beat the holy hell out of him. He kept saying that. I'm going to beat the holy hell out of him. During the show, after the show, before the show, he's going to find him in Missouri. He's going to find him in India. All this stuff. Till Shane came out and he said, you know, I can appreciate the passion, but I can't have you beating the holy hell. And I'm glad he said that. It sounded like he was kind of making fun of the way he kept saying holy hell. Can't beat the holy hell out of our employees. And then Randy, in a way, said, pot calling the kettle black. Randy, in a way, said, he disrespected my family. Oh, man. I love that Shane pointed out that Randy has disrespected Shane's family as well, but he understood it. Shane understood it, so you know he gave him his rematch, but Jinder Mahal picks the stipulation. Okay, fair enough. Randy Orton obliged, and Jinder Mahal, he comes out, and he's you know how I feel about his reaction here. James Ellsworth got a bigger reaction than Jinder Mahal. Very polite boos. So, yeah. Anyway, Jinder Mahal, he cuts this promo. He starts saying, you know what? You and I are gonna wrestle the match that was created by the man I look up to, the Great Khali. So, he looks up to the Great Khali. Wow. I find that funny, considering he was the one kind of controlling Great Khali a while back. But hey, where's continuity, right? Anyway, he brought back the Punjabi prison match. And honestly, I'm all for it. Especially because the last two matches were a bust. Well, I won't say it was a bust, but we got the exact same match both times around. What the hell, man? Of course, Jinder Mahal got a little bit more of a moveset showcase in the second time around. We got to see a little bit of figure four or half figure four. We got to see a super kick. So, you know, good to showcase from Jinder. But anyway, this will ensure that we're getting a proper blow off to this match. And hopefully it'll be with Jinder Mahal winning here. Because if not, he's going to pretty much cement himself being a paper champion. And honestly, I don't see why you should do that. And, it doesn't make sense. So, Jinder Mahal, he's going to go over. That's my early prediction. Jinder Mahal will beat Randy Orton in the Punjabi prison match. Next we got the Power of Love coming out. Maria and Mike Kanellis. Great stuff for like 2 minutes. Maria was about to cut this promo about when she was in WWE, and you could tell because she said 7 years ago. And then after that, Sami Zayn's theme hits. Thought that was hilarious the way he just comes out. He's saying, "Let's go!" And then he notices Maria and Mike Kanellis as he turns around and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Gentleman Sammy." I thought that was hilarious. And we got Sammy versus Corbin. Great match, competitive stuff, but sadly, or at least, to Sami Zayn fans such as myself, sadly, Sammy lost, and what can you do? Next, we got a Nakamura segment with Daisha Fuentes asking her about Corbin, asking her, what would you think of a Corbin versus Nakamura match? And then Nakamura said, "Yeah, I'm all for it." Nakamura would be quite the opponent. And I hope that Nakamura wins this. Only because, look, I think that would add to the mystique of Nakamura. He never loses. And you have somebody like Corbin beat him, it's like, what? No. And Corbin doesn't need the win either, so yeah, if you're gonna go into this feud, at least have Nakamura win, or if not, then have Corbin attack him from behind again, give him a kayfabe injury, and then be on with our lives. Alright, so lastly, we got the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and it was a good match. I don't know which I preferred between the two, between the Money in the Bank, or the SmackDown Money in the Bank. So it was essentially really good stuff. I really liked that Becky had a lot of offense in. We saw her go at it with Natalya and Charlotte and Tamina a little bit. And yeah, it was really good. Carmella had her thing in, had her moves in. Natalya had a good set of moves. It was some really good stuff. It was one of the best stuff was to watch. At one point, Becky Lynch was on the ladder as all four of them, or well, I should say Charlotte and Tamina were holding up the ladder. Were fighting over the ladder, and then they just they nearly dumped her, but then, they safely did it. It was kind of short. You kind of knew where they were going with it, kind of teasing Becky falling off the ladder, but instead they just kind of swung her to the ropes. Becky fell off by Tamina, throwing her into Charlotte. Becky took a nasty powerbomb by Natalya, which actually, by the way, speaking of Natalya, let's talk about her husband for a minute. Word on the street is that WWE is looking to put Tyson Kidd in a manager role. So hopefully he'll be the manager of Natalya, which I think will be pretty good for both of them. Listen, I'm not a big fan of Natalya as a heel. And I'm a big fan of Tyson Kidd as a heel. So that could really work with Tyson Kidd being the manager, being the mouthpiece for Natalya. It could really, really work here. So yeah, that's a plus for Tyson Kidd, and it'll be good to see Tyson Kidd back on TV. And actually, I want to take a moment to talk about Tyson Kidd. Now, he was a very, very underrated character in WWE, just so people know. Especially in 2014 in NXT when he was having that heel role, he was on a roll. All right, people really. If you haven't seen NXT in 2014, go back and watch some episodes of NXT in 2014. Look at Tyson Kidd. You'll see what I'm talking about. This dude is great. He was phenomenal as a heel. And he's a good babyface, too. Here's the thing. I always thought of him I always thought he could be like a modern-day Benoit. Because he was that damn underrated. He was good on the mic. Everybody liked him. He had a hell of a wrestling style. People loved him. He was like a modern day Benoit in that regard. He had, of course he differs in wrestling moveset, but they have a similar style nonetheless. So I was always thought that that's always how I projected him. He was a good baby face, but a damn good heel. He had respect. He had, he could have been some he could have had like a Benoit position, like where he was like a upper mid card, respected, like almost, and he could have had that that type of Benoit finish. Like he could have won the Royal Rumble that same way. Like if he were to eliminate, let's say, Big Show that same way or something like that. I always thought, when I saw 2011, when he was a qualifier for Money in the Bank, I saw his one of his promos, his backstage promos. I saw a fire under this guy. So when I look at Tyson Kidd, if you haven't checked him out, if you haven't seen NXT in 2014, I suggest you go back and watch some of that just to see like the potential in Tyson Kidd. I always loved when he would. I loved when he was doing the facts things, when he would come out and he would start, pointing out facts to everybody. That was the worst facts ever from me. So I'm very happy to see Tyson Kidd back on TV. I hope we get to see him. Now, part of me tells me that this is a way to just keep him off out of the ring, which is sad because you know what? Yeah, what are you gonna do? Tyson Kidd, we may be seeing the retirement of Tyson Kidd's pro wrestling career, and I think this is the kind of confirmation nail in the coffin, and I'm a little saddened by that. But hey, seeing him be Natalia's manager, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So anyway, let's get back to this match here. It was really good stuff. Charlotte put Natalya through a table, I think. Anyway, let's get into how it ended. So James Ellsworth, he comes back out. He climbs the ladder. And then Becky Lynch tips him. Becky Lynch, this is poetic justice here. Great. This was a great way to call it. It was a great way to finish it. Because Becky Lynch gave James Ellsworth, the whole what comes around goes around type deal. She tips over the ladder that James Ellsworth was on. Ooh, excuse me. And then he falls through the ladders. Falls into the ropes. Legs in between. That type of deal. Becky Lynch, she climbs the ladder. She climbs the ladder. But then Carmella pulls her off. Becky Lynch lands on the mat. She tweaks her knee. We get a kayfabe injury from her. Great selling from Becky. Could not climb the ladder, nothing. And then Carmella hit her with the knee. Hit her knee with a steel chair. And the first chair shot, by the way, was really weak. I gotta knock Carmella down for that weak chair shot. could have been a lot stronger. Afterwards, she hit her knee again. Becky Lynch was out of the ring. And then she climbs the ladder and pretty much defeats all 4 of them again. Now, people are complaining, there is no point, absolutely no point to this happening again. Well, yes, there is a point here. It's called telling a story, first off. And on top of that, it's also a plus for Carmella and pretty much everyone else involved. You know why? Because for Carmella, this is good character development. This is her saying, hey, I won Money in the Bank twice. F you. Or whatever. And then it makes a character like Becky Lynch look a lot very sympathetic. It makes all the other girls sympathetic here. Carmella is pretty much SmackDown's top heel at the moment. So, I'm looking forward to seeing her work her program with Naomi whenever that is. Whenever she decides to cash in. And this was the way SmackDown was closed, and good stuff. Good stuff. Alright, so let's get into NXT here. Oh boy. Alright, so we started... Freaking ads, man. So we started out NXT with Ho-Ho Loon versus... the Velveteen Dream, which I guess he's not using his name. He's not using Patrick Clark, which I guess makes sense. So he's just the Velveteen Dream. And honestly, I was not really interested in this match. Really, I wanted Ho-Ho Loon to win. We saw a really nice elbow drop from the Velveteen Dream. You know what? I'm just going to call him Patrick Clark because it's a lot easier to say. And it looked nice. The presentation looked nice. But then he completely missed the elbow. So it was like, well, hell, that was for nothing. But of course, Ho-Ho Loon had to sell for it. And we got a 1-2-3 off of that. Velveteen Dream is your winner. Next, we got Hideo Itami versus Oni Lorcan. And holy shit. He made up for those weak-looking chops that he gave Itami a few weeks back. Because Oni Lorcan gave these chops that I'll be damned if Hideo Itami had to sell. But I'm glad he no-sold those several weeks back. Anyway, Oni Lorcan, he as soon as Hideo Itami finished with his entrance and the bell rang, he pretty much bull rushed Itami into the corner. He hit him with like 6 European uppercuts, hit him with a few chops, and the ref had to stop him because Itami was bleeding and his nose was broken, and that forced them to look back and just leave and stuff. And afterwards, we later saw a promo with Bobby Roode and Roderick Strong. Really good promo package. I thought that was good stuff. Afterwards, Itami comes out. He's getting a nice ovation from the crowd because hell, we're getting quite the set of balls from Itami to come out and perform anyway. He was good to go, and then he just pretty much jacks, and I expected this. He pretty much messes Lorcan up. He had so much offense in. Of course, Lorcan had his offense here and there. I hope Oni Lorcan changes his theme song. I just have to say that right now. Oni Lorcan's theme song is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But, anyway, Itami ended up hitting him in the knee. And then, Lorcan, I believe, tried to do some sort of move, but then couldn't because his knee gave out on him. And then, he was trying to tell the ref to keep the match going, keep the match going. He told Itami to bring it on, and then Itami just picked him up for the GTS and hit him. There you go. So, after that, Lorcan was down for the count. And afterwards, we got Hideo Itami. He calls out Cassius Ohno. And then he comes out, and they just both start fighting each other. They don't fight each other, but they start arguing. To which Eric Young and Alexander Wolf come out with Nikki Cross being the distraction at ringside. Afterwards, they're just cleared out, and I thought this was good selling. So, Hideo Itami was taken out. He rolls out of the ring. We see Oni Lorcan still, selling the go to sleep. That was some really good selling from Oni Lorcan, because most guys just walk all the way to the back. You can see him out the corner of the screen. Looks bad. So I'm glad Oni Lorcan stayed there. Anyway, afterwards, Nikki Cross sent them to the back. That was pretty much her way of having an entrance. And we got this hellacious last woman standing match. Listen, I'm not going to go into the play-by-play of this match. Great, just go back and watch it for yourselves. It was some really good stuff. And we saw a lot of near finishes here. A lot of false finishes, I should say. At one point, I thought Asuka was legitimately going to lose because there was like 3 swinging neck breakers from Nikki Cross, which one alone does it in normally. And Asuka got up, and there were so many times where I wanted Asuka to not lose because like I was pulling for Asuka here the entire match. The babyface fan in me came out for this entire match. I wanted Asuka to win, and yeah, so like there were so many times where Asuka losing was teased, and a part of me thinks that if they continue this program, which the way this match came across, this seemed like the blow off match, but I would not be surprised to see if this continued on. It left a window of opportunity for both, but anyway, there were so many ways Asuka could have lost here. She was knocked out when she fell. She was knocked out. Just getting powerbombed onto the steel chair. She was knocked down when she hit the light post and then end up injuring her shin. She was down when she was down so many times. It's like crazy. And anyway, the match ended with Asuka giving Nikki Cross a superplex onto the announcer table. And Asuka, she gets back up barely at the count of 9, and once the ref counted 10, that was it. Asuka was your winner, and that was it. That was good stuff. I definitely love this week of wrestling, so yeah. Alright, well, with all that being said, guys, I'm definitely looking forward to tomorrow's. Thank you for listening to the Eduardo Asylum. And if you guys have anything you want to talk to me about, email me at eddylynch16@gmail.com, EDDYLYNCH16@gmail.com. Cannot be any more clear than that. Yeah, good night, guys.